Let's now talk a little bit about sharps and flats. So the idea behind these is, if you remember, in the musical alphabet there's certain notes that are right next to each other, so E and F, and B and C, but the other notes are 2 frets apart. So for an example, we have, if we go down here, we have F at the 1st fret, and then 2 frets up to G. So the thing is, we need some kind of term to describe the note that actually lies between those 2 notes. And the terms that we use are sharps and flats. So I'll give you an example. If we take an F note and we go up 1 fret, that could be called F sharp. A good way of remembering that is, if you stood on something sharp like a nail, you would jump up in the air. So basically, if you make a note into a sharp, you take that note and play it 1 fret higher. So if F is at the 1st fret, then F sharp is 1 fret higher at the 2nd fret. Now, in terms of flats, let's have a look at the G note. So we have the G note at the 3rd fret. If we were to turn that into a note that is 1 fret lower, we would use a thing called a flat. So this note here at the 2nd fret is called G flat. So again, if we use a silly sort of example, if you got, say, flat tires on your car, then the car would go down. So basically a note means take a normal note and play it 1 fret lower. So G is at the 3rd fret and G flat is at the 2nd fret. Now you might be wondering here, but isn't G flat the same as F sharp? And that's exactly right. So there's a term called enharmonic. And what that term means is basically 2 names for the same note. So this note here at the 2nd fret on the thin E string, we could call either F sharp or G flat. Now, you know, in everyday playing it doesn't really matter what we call it, but it's important to realize that in certain musical theory situations, like for example playing scales, there's going to be times when you'll need to call it an F sharp, and there'll be times when you need to call it a G flat. Now let's look at another example. I mean, hopefully it's clear so far, but if we say go up the neck, say to the 6th fret of the thin E string, I mean, what would that note be called? There's a couple of possibilities, isn't there? So if we go to the 5th fret, we know that that's an A note. So this note at the 6th fret could be called A sharp. That's one possibility. But we also know that the note at the 7th fret is a B note. So another possible name for the 6th fret note on the thin E string could be B flat. So again, it depends on the context. Sometimes you'll need to call it A sharp, sometimes you need to call it B flat.